Sadasya Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavavrinda ki jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai, Prem se Gaur Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki jai, Sri Radha Krishna Gaur Gopinath Sam Kund Radha Kund Giridhardhan ki jai, Vṛndāvana Dham ki jai, Navadvip Dham ki jai, Swami Bhaktivinoda ki jai, गंगा माई की जय, जमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, स्वामी भक्तवृंद की जय. All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. So this morning's Srimad Bhagavatam class will be on Canto 1, Chapter 7, verses 13 to 14, recorded on the 12th of September 1976 in Vṛndāvana. So that's Canto 1, Chapter 7, verses 13 to 14, recorded 12th of September 1976 in Vṛndāvana.
Krishna Sutanam Sapadam Siransi Upaharat Vipriyameva Tasya Jugupsitam Karma Vigarayanti. So, Dronacharya's son, a Brahman, but he took the profession of a Kshatriya. That is degradation. When a Brahmana takes the occupation of a Kshatriya, it is degradation. So this Droni, although he belonged to the Brahman family, and he accepted the profession of a Kshatriya. He degraded so much that he cut off the heads of 5 sons of Draupadi while they were sleeping. So much degradation. A Kshatriya never slains anybody who is sleeping. Kshatriya's business is to challenge, and if the other party has no weapon, he supplies weapon, then there is fight, then it is decided. One must die. That decision is there. when there is fight between two Kshatriyas, the decision is that one must die. Unless one dies, the business, the fighting will never stop. That is called Vṛndāvana. Vṛndāvana. If a Kshatriya dies in fight, he gets the promotion of Vṛndāvana, means he goes to the heavenly planet. This was advised by Krishna to Arjuna, that you fight. If you are victorious, then you will enjoy this kingdom. And if you are killed, then you will go to the heavenly planet. Then where is your loss? Both ways. You shall gain. Why shall you not fight? This advice was given by Krishna. So, here he says, Yathamride Kaudavasanjayana. In the fight, all the parties who died, they all obtained Vṛndāvana. And most of them, they achieved Swarupa. That is described in different places. Swarupa means his original spiritual form. All the soldiers or the kings who died, and at the time of death were seeing Krishna. Krishna was there in the battlefield. All of them achieved their original spiritual form, Swarupa. And those who did not see Krishna, they got promoted, Vṛndāvana, in the heavenly planet. So, fight is not always bad. If it is dharma yuddha, according to the prescribed rules, not whimsical fight, dharma yuddha, then there is gain. This science is lost. There is no such thing. Now, fighting means hooliganism, vandalism, gundaism. That is not fight. Here is fight. Vṛndāvana gati. They are promoted. Then at last, the fighting was between Dhritarashtra and Bhīm. This Vrikodara Vidya Gadhavi Marsa. Both of them, Duryodhana and Bhīm, they are very expert in fighting with Gada. So, when they were fighting Balaram, Krishna was neutral, but he was taking the side of Arjuna. He was driving the chariot. That means he was on the side of the Pandavas, but actually he was not fighting. So, Balaram also did not fight, and in order to avoid any parties, he went to holy places at that time. He was traveling all over India from different holy places, one place to another. So when he returned, he had some sympathy with Duryodhana, because Duryodhana was his disciple to learn how to fight with this Gada, club. Naturally, he was sympathetic with Balaram was sympathetic. So when he came, fighting was going on. So just to show him respect, they stopped fighting and everyone was silent because the Pandavas knew that Balaram was sympathetic with Duryodhana, and if he takes the side of Duryodhana, then everything will be spoiled. Because he is the supreme person. But he did not do so. He advised them, my dear Duryodhana, I know you are a great fighter, you have got strength, you have learned, you know the art of fighting, but you are not so strong as Bhima. And he advised Bhima, my dear Bhima, you have got the strength of 10,000 elephants. Naturally, you are superiorly stronger. So, he knows the art better than you, and you are bodily stronger than him. So there will be no decision, the fighting will go on. Can you not stop? Because there will not be decision, the fighting will go on. Unless one is dead, the fighting will go on. So what is use? Nobody will be victorious, the fighting will go on. Better stop. But they remain silent. Silent means they did not like the idea. Because Bhima had many old grudges against Duryodhana, because when Draupadi was being insulted, they had to sit down silent, no protest. There are so many incidences, rivalry, insult and counter-insult. So they took the opportunity of feeding the old grudge by fighting. Everyone is determined, I must kill. Duryodhana was determined to kill Bhima, and Bhima was determined to kill. So when they did not listen to the instruction of Baladev, then Baladev left the place. He went to Dwarka back. Of course, Krishna was there. Because Krishna was to give hint to Bhima how to kill Duryodhana. So, Duryodhana, by the blessings of his mother, his whole body became iron-like solid. So by beating by the Bhima, it was not easy. So the stories that Gandhari, the mother of Duryodhana, she was a great chaste woman. Because her husband was blind, she used to remain as blind woman, covering the eyes. But she had some power, chaste woman. Anyone who sticks to the regulative principles, he gets a power, spiritual or material, gets power. A brahmachari gets power if he follows brahmacharya. Everyone, if we follow the prescribed rules and regulation, automatically become power. So, Gandhari had some power. So his eldest son, Duryodhana, was advised to see the mother naked. She advised, my dear son, tomorrow morning when you come to offer your obeisances to me, you come naked. I shall see you. And you will be solidified, just like earth. So she was going naked. The Krishna saw, so he asked him, where you are going? And this is I am going to see my mother. How is that? You are going naked? At least you have some langota. This is not good. So he took the instruction of Krishna and covered the private part with the langota. And when Gandhari saw, she saw that she was not fully naked. So she regretted. My dear son, I asked you to come before me naked. Why you have got this? No, Krishna advised. Then she began to smile that my attempt is failure. So Krishna knew it. That part which was covered, that was not turned iron. The other parts turned into iron on account of sin by Gandhari. So in this fight, Krishna hinted him that you strike here. That part is not ironized. Although it is against the regulative principle to strike the opponent party below this waist. Krishna advised that unless you transgress this law, you cannot kill him. So he was struck below the waist and he was not killed, but his waist was broken. That's why it is said, Bhikudara Vidha Gadabimans. But then he died. This is mentioned here. So, Bhagno Urudande, Bhagna, Uru. Urudanda was broken. Bhagno Urudande, Dhritarashtraputre. Dhritarashtraputra, Duryodhana was Dhritarashtraputra. At that time, Droni, his master was Vṛndāvana. A Brahmana became a servant of Kshatriya, that is degradation. A Brahmana cannot become servant. Nobody can become servant. Only the Shudras can become servant. Brahmana never becomes servant. They are instructor. Satta samadama titikha java jnana vijnana asikam brahma karma sabhavajam. This is Brahmana's qualification. They will train the brahmacharis and the grihasthas how to become perfect, discipline. First discipline is truthfulness. The Brahmana will never speak lies. That is the first quality. So, who is going to take training in that way? Nobody is interested. This is Kali Yuga. We are trying to train people. No illicit sex, no meat eating, no gambling, no intoxication. Still, there are some failures. And if we teach in our institution, please do not speak lies. People will laugh. So what is this nonsense? Nowadays, is it possible to remain in the society without speaking lies? This is the position. This is called Kali Yuga. Nobody is interested to be trained up as a Brahmana Nobody is interested to be trained up as a Kshatriya, neither as a Vaishya. They are all Shudras. Therefore it is said, Kalo Shudra Sambhava. There is no training. It is very, very difficult to train them to become purified by training. These status of life are different status of training, so that ultimately one can become Brahmana, and when he is fully trained up as a Brahmana, then he transcends the Brahmana's position and he becomes a Vaishnava. So to become Vaishnava is not so easy thing. One has to become Brahmana. Then when he surpasses the stages of becoming Brahmana, then he becomes Vaishnava. Shuddha Satta. Sattang Visuddhang Vasudeva Sabdhidam. Then Krishna is born. When one comes to the Vaishnava stage, then he can understand what is Krishna. Just like Krishna was born of Vasudeva. Similarly, when one comes to the stage of Vasudeva, Vasudeva means perfect Vaishnava. Do you think Krishna accepts somebody as father, an ordinary man? No. He is perfect Vaishnava. Krishna accepts somebody as mother. Who is his mother, father? Nobody can. He is the Adi Purusham. He is the original person. Who can become his father, mother? But he accepts when he descends to exhibit his lila. Yada yada hi dhanma saglani bhavati bharata tadatmanam sijama. So, he is everyone's father. How most of them can be his father? Ajopi sannabhyatma. Very exalted devotee, he accepts him as father or mother, and therefore one has to learn everything scientifically. Janma karmancha me dibbam. Don't take ordinary. Krishna is born of a father, Vasudeva, and of a mother, Devaki. That's all we know, he is born. No, one has to learn who is his father, who is his mother, how he accepts his devotee as father. That is called Yojanati Tattata. This is Tattva. Manusthanam sahasresu kaschid jatati siddhaye jatatam visiddhanam kaschid vettimam tattata. To understand Krishna tattata in truth, that is not so easy. It is possible for a man out of many millions of men. Manusthanam sahasresu kaschid jatati. So that tattata one can understand simply by pure devotional service. If you become a pure devotee without any contamination, unalloyed devotee, then Krishna reveals, this is I am like this. You cannot speculate upon Krishna. That is not possible. Nayam atma pravachanena labhya na bahuna sutena na medhaya. You cannot understand Krishna simply because you are a learned Sanskrit scholar. You are a rascal. Krishna is not so easy to be understood by scholarship of Sanskrit language. Don't commit this mistake. Krishna is understood by a person to whom Krishna reveals. That is understood. Nayamatma, this is completely said. Nayamatma, ayamatma, na pravachanena labha, na medhaya. Because you have got a fertile brain, therefore you will be able to understand Krishna. No. Now Bahuna Sutena, because you are very good scholar, you have studied so much. No. If Krishna reveals to you, then he will be able. That revelation is possible when you are a devotee. Otherwise, it is not possible. Prayamatma pravachane nalapra. So we have to wait for that opportunity when Krishna reveals. How that revelation is possible? Atasya Krishna namadi navaved graham indriyai. By sense perception or sense speculation, you cannot. Namadi, even the chanting of Hare Krishna mantra, you cannot understand. Atasya Krishna namadi, nama, roop, lila, parikar, vaishishta, everything. You cannot understand these blunt senses. Then how? Sevanamukhehi jivhado sayameva spurattada. When you engage your senses, purified senses, sevanmu, purified senses means when the senses are engaged in the service of the Lord, everything, then you can understand Krishna. Sevanmukhi jivbhado sayameva spurat sayamava. Krishna is not your servant. Krishna, I want to see you. No, that you cannot see. When he is pleased, when he sees that here is a pure devotee, then he reveals. The Pandavas were pure devotees, therefore Krishna took his side and they became victorious in the fight. And Krishna is always ready to give protection to his devotee. Konti apradijanihi name bhakta pranasati. His Sudarshan Chakra always protects his devotee. That is the position of devotee. Thank you very much.
Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharni Nirvasesha Shunyavadi Paschachidas Tarini. So today's verse, Srimad Bhagavatam 1, 7, 13 and 14. And I'll read the translation. When the respective warriors of both camps, namely the Kauravas and the Pandavas, were killed on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, and the dead warriors obtained their deserved destinations, and when the son of Dhritarashtra fell down lamenting, his spine broken, being beaten by the club of Bhimasena, the son of Dronacharya, Ashvatthama, beheaded the 5 sleeping sons of Draupadi, and delivered them as a prize to his master, foolishly thinking that he would be pleased. Duryodhana, however, disapproved of the heinous act, and he was not pleased in the least. So Duryodhana is not all bad, you see. He thought, Ashvatthama thought he would be pleased, but Duryodhana he was not pleased by that act. So here's a question. Several times in the lecture, Prabhupada uses the term Vira Gatim, which is in the Sanskrit. So what does Vira Gatim mean? Yes, literally speaking, it means the destination of the Vira heroes. And in this context, Prabhupada said it means the heavenly planets, going to the heavenly planets. But of course, on the Battle of Kurukshetra, there was another destination for the warriors. What was that? Swarup, yes. Some people, they discuss this point. What happened to the warriors? And some say, they got impersonal liberation. But here it's explained they got Swarup, which is very elevated. So what is the business of the Kshatriya? Say again? Yes. So Prabhupada gives the example, if the fighting is going on, it has to end in one of them dying. Otherwise it will go on forever. So this is the proper Kshatriya spirit. We just fight to the death. And Prabhupada said it's not all bad, you see. We think of war as a bad thing, but if the practitioners are following Dharma, then they get a lovely destination. And what is actually in this phrase, what's the phrase for the warrior's Dharma? There's a phrase that Prabhupada uses, it begins with the term Dharma. Yes, Dharma Yuddha, according to prescribed rules, not whimsical fighting. So the word Yuddha means fighting, so Dharma Yuddha means when you fight according to the rules. Now which rule did Bhima break? Yes, below the waist. Now I've heard it said, I haven't read all of the Mahabharata, and actually during the fight, Duryodhana jumped in the air and he spun and he was upside down. So he didn't hit him below the waist because his legs were up and his head was down, so he got him then. Someone can check that out if there's any pundits on the Mahabharata, they can explain. Anyway. So there was quite a bit of discussion about Lord Balaram in this class. So I mentioned how Duryodhana is not all bad because he didn't approve of the killing of the 5 sons of Draupadi. Balaram is in an interesting situation. So what is his connection to Duryodhana? Teacher, yes. And he had affection for him. So Prabhupada makes a comment, if Balaram had taken the side of Duryodhana, then what? Everything would have been spoiled, yes. But Balaram, he took a neutral position and he went off in disgust. And he was traveling on pilgrimage. So there's another example. Some people can't understand why Balaram was not against Duryodhana. He was neutral. Anyone else have any particular? I mean, there's other story. Maybe we'll go to the story of Gandhari. So, Gandhari, being a chaste woman, she had a lot of power. So, Prabhupada explains that she was voluntarily blindfolded because her husband was blind, and she had this benediction that if she saw Duryodhana, then his body would become indestructible. Of course, Krishna tricked. Krishna saw Duryodhana and said, "Where are you going naked?" He said, "I'm going to see my mother." And he said, "At least cover yourself." So he put on a gamsha. And then, of course, Gandhari, when she saw, she was like disappointed, but then she understood that Krishna had tricked her. Yes?
Hare Krishna, if I can ask a question on this
Yes.
point, how we can reconcile that? How can we reconcile the fact that Duryodhana, in a certain way, was favored by Balaram, who's Guru personified, who's the Adi Guru, and how can we also reconcile that Duryodhana, in a certain way, took shelter of Krishna's instruction or suggestion to cover yourself? So, yet we can see that all the horrific things he done, either to the Pandavas or kind of triggered all these activities and warmongering amongst all the Kshatriya dynasties on the planet. So that in one hand he's favored by Balaram and simultaneously takes shelter of Krishna. Another hand he's creating all this havoc in the society. So how we can reconcile this?
I mean, everyone's got their angle in this. The way I look at it, Prabhupada has made things very clear. So when we understand the Mahabharata through the eyes of Prabhupada, it's all very black and white. But if you didn't have Prabhupada's instruction, you would see nuance. So Karna is another example. Karna was killed. He could have killed the Pandavas. Well, he couldn't have killed Arjuna, but the other ones, he defeated them all. But he never killed them because he was honourable, and ultimately he was killed. So I look at it as there's good and bad. So the characters, they have certain good qualities. I mean, another example is Jarasandha. So he would always never refuse giving charity, and that was his downfall. Anyway. So I see it as just part of the Leela, part of the drama. I mean, what exactly was Balaram thinking? I'm not sure exactly what he was thinking. There is dharma of having affection for a friend. There's a dharma to that as well. But it's just one of those questions. Does anyone else have any insight into this? Why would Balaram, who's the guru, why would he be favourable to Duryodhana, who's adharmic?
I don't have a comment, but I have a follow-up question.
All right, let's hear it.
Along a similar vein, Balaram came and he gave a direct instruction to his disciple and also to Bhim, who was obviously very much in awe of Balaram.
Mm-hmm.
And then they both kind of ignored his instruction completely. But then that was favourable to Krishna because Krishna wanted that Bhim kill Duryodhana. So I'm just wondering if you had any comment on that, how that worked.
Maybe Antaranga probably might have a comment on that one. Okay. As the saying goes, there are more questions than answers. And we're not having the answers today. There's a verse from the 5th Canto, first line. I'll begin it and see if anyone knows it. It's quite famous. Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. So it's the definition of the Suddha-sattva platform. It's that platform when we come to the mode of pure goodness, where Krishna manifests. The Lord is covered by the illusory energy, but when we come to the Shuddha-sattva platform, then we have darshan of Krishna. So Prabhupada says, so to become Vaishnav is not so easy thing. One has to become Brahmana, then he surpasses the stages of becoming Brahmana. When he does, then he becomes Vaishnav. So it said in the first canto, Sattvam Yad Brahmadarshanam. If we're on the platform of Sattva Gun, then we can catapult ourselves to Brahmadarshanam, which means Suddha-sattva platform. So if we're wondering why we're having difficulty in advancing rapidly in Krishna consciousness, it might be because we're not have enough sattva. So if you're in sattva, it's like the dry grass. You take a match to dry grass, then it quickly goes in a blaze. But if it's like moist grass, that's like passion, and if it's wet grass, then it's like the mode of ignorance. So it's very important that we make sure we come out of the lower modes of nature, because if we don't, then even though we're exposed to Krishna consciousness, it can take a long time. In fact, it can be worse than that. If you're too much in the mode of ignorance, you can commit offences and spoil your bhakti lata. So yeah. So what's Bhagavad Gita 4.7? Prabhupada quotes it. Anyone know that verse? Yada yada bhavati bharata tadatmanam. And Prabhupada also quotes, one of the most often quoted verses of Prabhupada is Janma Karma Chamedavyam, which he quotes there as well. And he also quotes Bhagavad Gita 7.3. Anyone know that one? It's about tattva. Manushyanam sahasreshu kachit yatadi siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kachit mam veti tattvataha. He's explaining, to understand Krishna tattva, in truth, it is not so easy. It is possible for a man out of many millions of men. Manushyanam sahasreshu. Now Prabhupada, he quotes a verse actually from them, I think it's from the Mundaka Upanishad. But it's about someone who may be a learned scholar. What did Prabhupada say about a learned scholar and the person's ability to become a devotee? Rascal. Well, actually, yes, he does use the frame. You are a rascal. So you cannot understand Krishna simply because you are a learned Sanskrit scholar. You are a rascal. I remember Bhaktivedanta Prabhu told a story. He once went to see the king of Orissa, and he was in a taxi with another scholar, and this scholar just knew thousands of verses, and he pulled out a bidi, started smoking. So you can be a scholar and not be a devotee. So the verse is Nayamatma pravachanena labhyo namedayana bahuna shrutina. It goes on like that. So Prabhupada's making that point that even though we may be scholars, we have to be devotees if we actually want to understand Krishna. And in this regard, he refers to how we, by chanting the Mahamantra, we can actually experience Krishna. And he quotes a famous verse, which is in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, and it's also in Madhya Lila. And remember this verse? About how we experience Krishna through the holy name. Ata Shri Krishna namadi nabhaved grachyamendriyai. It's funny, in this class, Prabhupada quotes half the verses, nearly always. Actually, later on he says, Sevan mukhi hi jivandao swayameva spirachada. So the idea is here is having this service attitude. If we have that service attitude, then even though if we're not a scholar, we will experience Krishna. And if we're a scholar but we don't have the service attitude, then we won't experience Krishna. So how exactly is Krishna experienced? Prabhupada, he gives some, as well as Nam, he talks about realizing Krishna through more than just Nam. He gives 5 Sanskrit words. Nam, Rupa, Lila, Parikar, which is the associates, right? And what's Vaishishya? Anyone know? I mean, it sounds like variety. I don't know exactly. I've not heard that normally quoted. Nam, Rupa. Sometimes they quote Dam. Nam, Rupa, Lila, the Dam. But the Lord is realized in various ways. So as you chant Hare Krishna, the form becomes realized in the Lila, the associates, the Dam, and it's all gradually manifested. So this is kind of a high topic, but it's not in order. Well, it is in order actually. The Rupa is a realization. Then after the Rupa realization, you get the Lila realization, etc. Anyway, Prabhupada ends on a positive note. He says, so the Pandavas were pure devotees, therefore Krishna took his side and they became victorious in the fight. And Krishna is always ready to give protection to his devotees. And then Prabhupada quotes a verse from the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, which he often does. Anyone know? In this connection, Krishna protects his devotees. Kauntiya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. Famous verse. His Sudarshan Chakra always protects his devotees. So that was me quickly doing it off the cuff. Anyone else got any comments or questions or more realizations? We're all happy with the... Oh yes, Prabhuji.
What does it take to get into Sattva Guna?
What does it take? Yeah. Well, you have to be dutiful. I mean, how do you get in? Are you dutiful? Are you self-controlled? Are you clean? Do all those things. These are the main things. Are you truthful? These are the main things that help foster Sattva Guna. So if you read the qualities of a Brahman, Bhagavad Gita, and you try to follow those qualities, tolerant, control of the mind, control of the senses, study the scripture. If you do all those things, make an honest attempt, then you'll come into the mode of goodness. And then your devotional flame will ignite and you'll soon be very, very advanced. There's actually a personality in Jaiva Dharma. He was an impersonalist, he met a devotee, and 3 days later he was on the platform above. So how is this possible? I asked one of my friends, they said, well look, he was a very, very qualified Mayavadi sannyasi, Brahmavadi or Mayavadi, I don't know which he was, but because he was a sannyasi and he was very pure, then he had the platform of goodness from which he could very quickly attain Krishna consciousness. So, I think it's time for prasadam. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaur Pramanandi, Haribo. Is anyone going out preaching today? Okay, I was going to give you the garland. Actually, I'll take the garland to Satya's funeral. Someone might want it. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare